Okay. All right. So we're gonna try to break this down. So a couple of days ago, I ended up having I guess a popular YouTuber, Instagram guy. He ended up doing a breakdown of Sinners without even watching the movie. And basically, within the first 30 seconds or a minute, he was like, "Yeah, I know it's propaganda, but I don't even have to watch it." And so I was basically telling the YouTuber that Sinners is essentially a masterpiece when it comes to, just depends on how you look at it. And so with the movie Sinners, it is a masterpiece in understanding frequencies, vibrations, and the relationship between empathic and narcissistic uh entities or cycles, right? And so I'm not sure if he even got that far, but I've dealt with this my whole life. But then also there are some other reasons why. I'll get into it in a little bit later date. But I want to talk about uh how this is. I'm going to break down. This is just the introduction, but I'm going to break down the movie Sinners, and I have a big project. But in this particular scenario, we're going to talk about Sammy because he is obviously one of the main characters in the movie Sinners. However, he is important if you want to understand narcissism from an outside dynamic. Because a lot of times people don't really understand narcissism because obviously if it hasn't happened to you, you won't understand it. But also, we're getting a look of how energies and frequencies they interact with each other, right? And so when we first saw the movie Sinners, you have the scene with Sammy walking into the church. So essentially, in the order of the movie, that's the end of the movie. So I don't want to taint like the actual video, the critique on what this is based off the first scene, because right now this is where the movie really starts, and there's multiple different things happening all at the same time. So therefore, they'll flip flop between Sammy, then the Smoke Twins, and back and forth because there's simultaneous things happening in the movie. This is where the movie really starts. So I want to start right there, and I want you to see, like, at the beginning, we there's a bunch of stuff that happened in the church, but this is where we actually get an idea of who Sammy was prior to all of this. So let's watch this, and then we'll go on. I'm gonna play the whole scene through, and then we'll go back.
Somebody take me.
You strumming that guitar tonight?
Good morning, Miss Beatrice.
You gonna tell me what you playing on? I have to hear it through the grapevine.
You have a good one, Beatrice. I see you at service tomorrow morning.
Guess the grapevine it is.
Morning, Ma.
Morning, baby. Don't put that on your body, Sammy.
My soap is soap.
It'll dry you out.
I'll put this on while it's still wet.
Boy, you ain't got the sense God gave a goose. Go ahead.
Hey, Mama said get up.
Morning, Sam. Wake up. Too early for dinner.
All right, cool. So let's stop it right there. So now this is where some other things happen, but let's break it. Let's go back a little bit. So we're gonna go back to the beginning of this scene right here. So what we're seeing now is obviously based off this short little bit. It's only been about maybe 90 seconds or so. We get an idea of who Sammy is. Like, to me, he seems like a very responsible person because he's out there, he's done with his quota before the other people even came to pick their cotton, for one. So it seems like he is a responsible human being because we don't know why he's out there that early. I thought it was actually dark at first, but I mean, like nighttime, but it's actually hella early. And he's out there, he has his quota done before the others show up. So to me, that's showing, okay, he has a sense of responsibility, right? And as we going through this scene, let's see what he does after he leaves the cornfield. I mean, not the cornfield, but after he leaves the cotton field, look how he interacts with the people that are around him. What kind of demeanor does he have? Now he's coming back into town with his quota already done, which shows responsibility.
Morning, baby.
Then he come up, give his mom a kiss,
Sammy, it'll dry you out.
you know, like interacting with her. So it seems like he has a good relationship with his mom, right? He seems very like cheerful, happy, going in there, waking up his brothers and sisters. Well, I don't know if they're brothers. I think it's two sisters, but he's waking up his younger siblings. He's doing what his mama told him to do. She said, "Go wake up your siblings," right? So he's showing responsibility. He's showing that he's a person that is happy, joyful, almost like he's just a happy person. That probably doesn't have a care in the world right now, so far, based on what we see. Now, this is where he's going to walk to the church where his dad is the pastor. Let's watch.
Morning, Pop.
You up all for early, son?
Like you say, jump on the work. Don't let the work jump on you.
That's right.
Finish my quota for the day.
Yeah, I brought it in here. I want you to help me give my sermon tomorrow. 1 Corinthians 10:13.
All right, we're just gonna watch this for a sec.
No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you're tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. Now, Pop, if you don't mind, I'm gonna be late.
Late for what, boy? Where you gotta be that's more important than being in the house of God?
I've been working all week, Pop. I want to be free of all this for a day.
To play music?
This is what he's saying.
For drunkards? Philanderers who shirk their responsibilities to their families so they can sweat all over each other?
I'll be back in town for service in the morning.
Son?
Let's keep listening. We're gonna go back.
You keep dancing with the devil. One day it's gonna follow you home.
All right, cool. Now let's go back. There's some key things that happened in this particular scene right here when he got to the church.
I want you to help me get...
All right, so now Sam is going to the church. Notice what happens when he's at the church. Listen to what he said. Look and just listen.
Morning, Pop.
You up all for early, son?
Like you say, jump on the work. Don't let the work jump on you.
That's right.
All right, now, are we building on who Sammy is? He seems like he's very responsible, obviously, because he got the cotton. Secondly, he's taking the lessons that his dad is giving him and applying them. Now, he just said that basically you jump on the work before the work jumps on you. That is a sign of responsibility. That is a sign of, hey, I am intelligent enough to understand and listen to what my parents say and actually apply it. Right? So far, Sammy seems like he is a good kid.
Finish my quota for the day.
Now you see the guitar his daddy took.
Yeah, I brought it in here. I want you to help me give my sermon tomorrow.
All right, now this is important. This is important because remember, I told you that this movie is about narcissism and like the dynamic of how they want to shift you. Oftentimes, listen to this. Oftentimes, when you deal with narcissism, the first narcissistic person you ever come in contact with are your parents. Usually, maybe not both, but usually you have a narcissistic parent. I'm not saying that his dad is narcissistic, but basically, he knows. I believe he knew that the twins were coming to get him to go play at that juke joint. He already knows that. And so the dad, you think he's doing a responsible thing by taking the guitar, which he could be. However, he knows that now, granted, if he really was about him doing music, he probably would have suggested maybe doing a different kind of music, not just, it seemed like he's just cutting it off at all. He's just cutting the music dream alive, right? So, and then he says, hey, I want you to do my sermon tomorrow. This is what happens when you deal with narcissistic parents and you have either a gift or a talent or a skill or an interest. They do not give a fuck what you talking about. They don't. They'll dismiss you. They'll know you have an interest and they won't show any interest. They want you to be this. They want you to do this. Anything outside of that, like, they're not trying to hear it at all. So that's why when you grow up and you find out that people just suppress and mask and like people don't feel authentic to themselves, because oftentimes when we are kids, our authenticity is taken from us because they don't let us be who we want to be. Now, granted, I'm going to let this play a little bit further though. Listen to this.
1 Corinthians 10:13.
Now, obviously, he want him to do the sermon tomorrow.
No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you're tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. Now, Pop, if you don't mind.
Now, moving forward, he wanted him to do his sermon. That's all his dad cares about. Now, Sammy shows that he's responsible. Has a high enough capacity to understand what his parents are trying to teach him and apply it. And he can recite the Bible without looking at it. So think about what type of individual Sammy is currently. Most of us don't even do this. Most of us have kids right now who don't do this. It's showing that he has probably a high IQ and a limited EQ, but I'll talk about that later. But like I said, his dad does not care about his music dream at all. He wants him to follow his footsteps and be a pastor. That's all he cares about. Now, he just showed you that he has the ability to do it, but he said, hey, I got stuff to do. Now, I don't know what age Sammy is, but I would assume he's over the age of 18, more than likely.
I'm going to be late.
Late for what, boy? Where you got to be that's more important than being in the house of God?
Now, that's important. Now, I broke each character down by their traits. He said, where else do you have to be than being in the house of God? This is a tactic to guilt trip you into basically to conforming what they want you to do. This is the tactic that narcissistic people use to trap you and not to be autonomous. You just saw him guilt trip him. Where else do you have to be other than the house of God? This is a manipulation tactic to get you not to do what you want to do. And they'll phrase it as if it's in your best interest. This is what happens. Let's move a little forward.
I've been working all week, Pop. I want to be free of all this for a day.
To play music? For drunkards? Philanderers who shirk their responsibilities to their families so they can sweat all over each other?
Now, what else did you hear? He said he been working his ass off all week and he wants to get a break to go basically pursue his craft or his dream. And what did his daddy say? He told him that, hey, you want to go do this to a bunch of drunk people who are basically, he didn't say the word fornicate, but basically fornicators, people who are the lowest of society. That's what he's saying. So he took an example where he tried to guilt trip him by using the house of God in the Bible, which most of some people's parents do. But then he basically told him that, hey, who you going to go do the music for are the lowest of society, right? So they're going to take the extreme of what you got to make it sound the worst. Now, are all the people in here alcoholics and drunks and fornicators? No, right? But they're going to use the extremes to try to steer you in a certain way, to guilt trip you to not do what you're autonomous, like what you're trying to do. This is what happens. You try to make them feel bad.
Be back in town for service in the morning.
Now, let me get rid of this. Look at his face. When you reject a narcissistic or vampiric energy, like we'll talk about in this movie, it's not meant with understanding. It's not meant with, hey, you know what? I wouldn't want you to do that, but I can see your point of view. They take it as a personal attack. Look at his face. You can see the anger in his face. Because if you are a loving person or an empathetic person, you realize that every person has their own decision to make in life. If I tell somebody something that, hey, one, I'm not going to tell them, hey, don't do it unless you're going to die, which he don't know that. He's just downplaying it. But my thing is, at the end of the day, you're responsible for making your own choices. So therefore, the only thing I can do is give you a recommendation, and I'm going to honor your decision, whether that be good or bad. But what happens is, when you deal with vampiric spirits or narcissism, they take this as a rejection. Look at his face. Does that look like a person who has humility and is empathic about what his life goals and dreams are? No.
Son? You keep dancing with the devil. One day it's gonna follow you home.
He said, if you keep dancing with the devil, sometimes it's gonna follow you home. Man, get the fuck out of here. Yes, that's true. But my thing is, granted, this is a movie. It's a dramatization. What is the actual likelihood of what actually happened at the juke joint happening in real life? But I don't know about white parents, but black parents for sure will guilt trip the shit out of you and give you a Bible verse, knowing damn well they talk about half the church and gossip all day. They don't live by the word that they really saying. This is just to get the point across. He's the pastor. Like, we've used to view like pastors as these divine people, but we know based off of history, hell, that sometimes the pastors and the deacons and all the people that's at the church be doing the worst shit. Am I right or wrong? Let me know. So yes, there might be propaganda, but my thing is, you're gonna see what you're gonna see based off your programming. So therefore, there's deeper meanings into movies that most people probably won't see. But this is an example. This is like a highlight of why I'm doing this big project on the movie centers, to let people know this movie is hella important if you're either in a narcissistic dynamic, or you have been a people pleaser, or you have been like struggling in life when it comes to just dealing with people and energy and frequency, so on and so forth. This is the blueprint to show you how to be autonomous and how to not get taken advantage of by vampires or narcissistic energy. Do you understand me? This is just the first scene. He only went to go pick cotton, go wash under his arms, and went to go get his guitar, and I broke down all of that like nothing. There's way more. If I did a live breaking down the whole movie, it would take me about 20 hours to do so. You understand me? This movie is important if you ever want to be energetically and vibrationally free. So this is only the introduction, because this is just off the dome. I don't have any of my notes. But if you like this video, like it, share it, comment on it. I want to know, one, have you ever dealt with this type of energy? And then two, let me know, does this resonate with you being an empathic person and not really understanding like people are trying to manipulate you on a day-to-day basis. So this is only the introduction. This isn't even really part one, but this is just the introduction. I'll do more series, and actually I'm going to end up doing a whole background. This was just off the dome because I was going to do some bunch of stuff. But like, share, whatever. I don't even have a subscribe. But tell me what you think about this video so far. All right, y'all, I'm out.